Hey guys, this is a segment from the Slumpbuster Podcast. You can find the full episode on any of the various podcast platforms, or of course, subscribe to us on YouTube for more of our content. Other than that, guys, sit down, bust a slump, and enjoy. So Carolina last season finished 5-11. A couple notable things. They fired Ron Rivera, hired Matt Rule, so new role in Carolina. They signed Teddy Bridgewater after letting go of Cam Newton and Kyle Allen. So they literally gave up their first and second tier starter to sign Teddy Bridgewater. They still have talent there as well. They re-signed Run CMC to a 4-year extension, $64 million guaranteed, $64 million contract with $30 million guaranteed. Surprisingly, there's many ways for the Panthers to get out of that one, so might have given him a sweetheart deal. They hired Joe Brady. Now, Joe Brady was the OC for LSU last year, and let's not forget, LSU's offense was perhaps the greatest offense in college football history. They had a Heisman winner. Joe Burrow threw for 60-plus touchdowns. They broke the FBS record for points scored with 726. A couple more notable additions, signed Robbie Anderson, let go of Gerald McCoy. But I'm not expecting big things from the Panthers from the get-go. I don't have them winning a lot of games this year. Dre, do you concur, or where are you at with them?
No, I 100% concur. I know Teddy Bridgewater probably is an upgrade at quarterback for them, especially what we saw from Teddy last year.
Whoa, upgrade over Cam?
Not over Cam, but Cam also didn't play last year, though.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. In comparison to last year, they had an upgrade. But no, Teddy Bridgewater is nowhere near, when Cam is at his best, Cam is easily the better quarterback. But Cam didn't play last year, so they got better at quarterback. Though the rest of the roster, there's been a lot of transitions. And then, like you said, new coach, new coordinators. So I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of success from him. I'm really hoping that we can see him start to rebuild successfully. I think they've got sort of a good plan to do it, but I don't see a whole lot of success this season. So I'm going to give them sort of a generous 6-10.
I am less generous, my friend. I have them going 3-13 this year. And this is not a huge shot at them. I don't think that they are doing a lot of things wrong necessarily. Mm-hmm. David Tepper, when he came in last season, it was clear that he wanted to make this front office younger. He wanted to bring in his guys. He was a little bit through with the old guard. He was through with the Gettlemans. He was through with Ron Vera. And he was through with Cam. So Teddy Bridgewater, a more controllable quarterback, less eccentric, of course, but also more conservative. Teddy Bridgewater is not going to push this offense, really, unless Joe Brady gets to him and says, I think we're going to make this offense more dynamic. We're going to push more things. Again, Joe Burrow was not a high draft prospect last year and set records, was phenomenal. Can that happen with Teddy? I haven't seen it, or I haven't seen much of anything to really make me think that he can do that. It's also worth noting that Joe Brady was also a coordinator, or not a coordinator, but at least an assistant for the offense with the Saints, who Teddy Bridgewater, of course, was just coming from in the offseason. Also, they did sign P.J. Walker, a star in the XFL. So there is potential for there to be a little bit of a competition. They drafted a QB last year. Unfortunately, the name is escaping me. I do remember he came in last year and wasn't that great. But it is essentially a tough battle for the backup position out there in Carolina. I think overall, this team is going to be better in 3 years, not in 2020. Because Matt Rule does have a track record of coming in and turning around organizations, turning around college football programs. He did a phenomenal job with Temple. He did a fantastic job with Baylor. And now he's coming into this organization that definitely is looking for some change. They're not that far removed from being in the Super Bowl. Let's not forget, 2015 was not that long ago. I know 2020 has felt like an eternity, but this organization has seen success in its time. So I do believe in Matt Rule long term. It's just a first-year coaching hire, a quarterback that hasn't really been the starter in several years, going back to Minnesota. And even then, the offense didn't really revolve around him. I think you're going to see some bright spots. I think DJ Moore might have a decent season. Here's a fun question. Will Christian McCaffrey repeat with 1,000 yards, 1,000 rushing, or 1,000 receiving yards?
Sorry, I was muted. I'm going to say no. I just think that that's too hard to obtain again, right? Like we see it time and time again. You have these guys that have these huge breakout seasons, and then everybody sort of just catches on, and you start to figure out like, hey, that's their go-to weapon, right? So I'm going to say no on that. I think he'll still be fine, though.
Yeah, I think moving away from Norv Turner loves to check down to the running backs. I think Joe Brady's, of course, going to want to use his best piece on offense. But at the same time, I think Christian McCaffrey is going to take a slight step back. So that's important to know for you fantasy owners when you're deciding on Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Zeke up top. I think you still have to go with Christian McCaffrey, number one. You're crazy if you don't. But at the same time, let's not ignore there is a coaching turnover, so it may affect how they utilize him.